Welcome to the Migration Report, brought to you by the folks at the Up Duck Podcast, in partnership with the Wisconsin Waterfowl Association. Together, we'll bring you weekly bird activity reports from the various regions across the state of Wisconsin. All right, welcome back to another episode of the Migration Report. It is November the 3rd. And as a reminder, this is your boots on the ground update for waterfowl hunting and bird activity across the state of Wisconsin. Now, we are heading into the first week of November. And while the calendar says that it is prime time, the migration has said, not quite yet. Or, in the words of longtime college game day host Lee Corso, not so fast, my friend. So we'll get into that in more detail in just a minute. First, we have to get some housekeeping items out of the way. So, first and foremost, as always, a big thank you to the Wisconsin Waterfowl Association for their support in bringing this Migration Report podcast to life. Second, if you are interested in becoming a contributor, please reach out to UpDuck on any social media platform. We'll get you started with what's required. It's a very low lift, and you can help inform your fellow hunters across the state of Wisconsin. Now, if we are done with the housekeeping items, we can move into the region-specific reports. And first, we're going to start off in the Northeast, Green Bay, surrounding area, up further north. And the theme this week for the Northeast is another grind. We had east and southeast winds that dominated a lot of the week. And you combine that wind with water access or just water levels that are really low, making access tough. You get a tough week. The wind did flip west and northwest later on in the week, which allowed things to pick up a little bit. Due to the wind, due to the conditions, due to the access with the low water levels, pressure has been light. That's what our contributors noted. So that's something to keep an eye on if you are hunting out that way in that specific region of the state. As far as birds go, diver numbers continue to build offshore. Bluebills are making up about 90% of what's being seen right now, along with a few canvasback, redheads, and then buffleheads. Inland, it's about the same, really. Lots of stale local birds. Not a whole lot of new birds showing up yet. One contributor who's been hunting in the Northeast region for about 15 years said this feels like the slowest start in over a decade to the duck season for him. So keep that in mind too. And it can be specific as always, right? You can get into pockets of birds and do well, but generally it's been a real grind in the Northeast. And we're just looking for that cold front and a few solid days of north wind to get some fresh birds into the area. Now, if we move over to the Northwest, we had some cool mornings. We had some light rain. We had some steady west winds that appeared to make for some decent weather. Fortunately, the weather and the birds, they didn't come together, so there just wasn't a whole lot of action there. Water levels are holding steady, yet hunter numbers and pressure seems to be falling off each week. We are hitting prime deer hunting season as well, so there's folks who are trading in their shotgun for a bow. Most of the ducks that were observed in the Northwest were divers, golden eyes, buffleheads, canvasbacks. They appear to be cruising down the Big River, staying out of range. Most huntable birds seem to be locked up in refuges. So just real tough conditions in the Northwest as well. One really interesting observation, we did have a flock of blue-winged teal that was on an inland pond, which is pretty late in the year for them to be moving around, or for them to be around, given how cold of a start we had early in September, and then pretty just cool temps for them to be hanging around for the last 10 to 14 days. Not a lot of shooting in the Northwest by our contributors. A lot of windshield time, though. So take what you can get. If we head down then into the southwest part of the state, dry, lots of south wind, just a couple days of north winds that were mixed in, and it felt real brief. Most of the crops are off in the southwest part of the state, which has folks again trading in their waders for a tree stand, right? So we get some of that right now, especially with reports being as slow as they've been. A lot of local birds. That's pretty much all that's been seen. Calendar migrators, just a few of those have been observed as well. If you want to stay on the birds, scouting is the biggest thing. Scouting is key. Got to find the water, and you're going to be looking to scratch out a few birds. It's tough right now on the duck front. On the goose side, things are really strong in the southwest part of the state, right? We've got a lot of cut egg fields, tons of feeding activity, especially in all those fresh cut cornfields. So if you're a goose guy or goose gal, a lot of opportunity right now, especially if you've got access or can get access to private ag fields. As we move counterclockwise and finish up in the southeast region, southeast part of the state here, it was a tough week. We did have winds that swung northwest a couple of days, got gusty, and what seemed to happen was the front that brought those winds in pushed out a lot of the local birds, and we just had a few stragglers left behind. So it's been tough to get on birds. I haven't myself personally observed a whole lot of new birds in the area. Over toward Lake Michigan, there were divers that were observed moving down into Michigan. Inland marshes, it's just been tough. It's been real tough. And, I think that's about to change though. So, if you've been in the southeast part of the state, right, best action's been on geese, just like the southwest portion. A lot of birds, tons of birds hitting fresh cut cornfields. So if you have access again to private ag fields, right, you probably can do pretty well right now if you can get onto the X. Again, scouting is going to be key, just as it always is. That's it for the region-specific reports. I think if we look for a theme this week, it's really stagnation. It was a real stagnant week across Wisconsin. Again, right? I'm waiting to do one of these reports where it's a real banger. I think this next report on November 10th has a chance to be that. We've had pretty solid conditions. It hasn't been overly warm. We just haven't had a lot of north wind. We haven't had a lot of fronts. It's been really warm in Canada. It looks like later this week, it's going to get real cold in Canada. It's going to get cold. We got a big front coming in across the state starting on Friday. That's a great thing. So I think, for me personally, I'm looking at the, Friday through next Monday as real strong days to be out in the marsh hunting ducks. So if you're one of the folks who's traded in their bow or traded in their waders for a bow, you might want to swap it back or just hurry up and fill your deer tag so you can get back to duck hunting. Keep an eye on that. No matter where you're at, keep your eyes on the sky. Until next week, safe hunting, safe travels, shoot straight, and we'll see you again on November the 10th.